It's time to start the show, even if you're not ready. Sometimes you got to go for it, even when you're not ready. I've been having tech issues today, like crazy tech issues. I don't know. Weird stuff. Gremlins are after me today. All kinds of people here hanging out with us today live. So gotta say hi to all y'all out there watching with us. This is the Ask StreamYard show. I am your host, Melanie Dyann Howe, and we're gonna go for it. So again, been having some issues today, but we're gonna go for it because today's show is way too fun and honestly, way too important. We're talking about webcams today. So obviously with StreamYard, it's a browser-based solution where you can go live. You do need a camera in order to be on camera though, right? Now you can also go live on your mobile phone using StreamYard, where you would obviously use your camera on your mobile phone or your iPad or wherever. That's pretty easy, right? But there's all kinds of options out there for how you can use your webcam when you are streaming from a computer. So we're gonna talk about 4 types of webcams today that they're gonna give you lots of options. Pretty much everyone has access to a camera. I guarantee it. Even if you don't think you do, you have access to something. So, all right. So here's the deal. I am excited to see everyone here. And also, thank you. Normally we go live at 11 and I had something come up, so I had to reschedule us to noon today, which apparently works for lots of people because there were all kinds of people ready to go right at noon today. So I'm excited for that. We're going to have some fun. We're going to jump in. Now, I'm going to cover these 4 types of webcams for you, and I will answer your questions as well. So if you have questions, be sure to put it in the comments with a Q in front of it so I can see it in the midst of all of those questions. So, wow, we got Vicky is here. Carlos is here. My Destination Training. I think I saw Angela over on LinkedIn hanging out with us as well. We've got Darina in the house as well. All kinds of people. We have Cheryl. Man, everybody is here. All kinds of people. Andrew Kahn's here. It's good to see everybody. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to do a little bit of... just always I love seeing people come back. I love the return people that hang out. And if this is your first time watching the Ask StreamYard show, just so you know, I'm live every Friday, usually at 11 a.m. Eastern time, but today we did it a little different. So that's the deal. So make sure you're subscribed to us so you don't miss a beat. So we are all on it. All right, let me see here. Khan, Can. Did I say it wrong? I think I said con. Didn't I say con? Am I getting it right? Let me know if I got it right. Okay, you have to send me a DM with it. Can. Okay, there it is. Andrew Can. Now we all know. It's can, everybody. It is can. Okay, so here's the deal. All right, let me jump in here. So I've got like a different setup today. I changed a couple things so that I could sort of toggle between these different types of webcams because I've got all kinds of stuff set up. So there is one thing. So we're going to start with I'll say simplest and lowest quality. And we're going to work our way up, right? So we'll work our way up to the different webcams. So again, you have different types of ways you can hook up these webcams. We'll kind of go through them and I'll break them down. And I want to help you also decide what's the right camera for you. So some of you have actually already said in the comments that you are essentially that you are getting ready to change your camera. Maybe you're getting ready to upgrade your camera. Maybe you're getting ready to start live streaming and you need to get the right equipment, and you're kind of here because you're here to learn about that stuff, right? So, so we are going to jump in to the first one. Oh, we've got some questions coming in. All right. We've got all kinds of questions coming in. Jan Rocks, I don't know about refreshing the page there. I see your comment. I would actually get with our support team on that for sure. So, okay, here's the deal. All right, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to not get distracted. I got to focus today. I'm all over the place. Again, tech issues threw me off today. So here's the deal. We're going to start with the lower level, right? The lower levels. But I'm also going to start with the webcam that everybody has access to. So some of you are like, well, I don't have a camera. I don't have a webcam. I need to buy one. Well, y'all have a phone. Pretty much everybody has a smartphone, a mobile phone, right? And your mobile phone has a camera built into it. It obviously does. They do. If you download an appropriate application, okay, there are different apps out there. We did an entire Ask StreamYard show about using your mobile device as a webcam, 100%. And we covered it. So here's the deal. There are some popular ones out there. Epoch Cam is an app made by Elgato. The way that this works is that your phone, you plug it into your computer, you can use it as a webcam. And I will prove it to you by switching to my phone. So as you can see, there's a massive difference in the quality, right, of our device when we use it this way. In fact, it's kind of cropped in. And I was curious how this was going to look. It also makes me look a little weird, but it's a camera. So everybody has one of these things. But the way that this works is your phone has to have a way to interface with the computer. And there are applications. So if you just plug your phone in, it's not going to just show up as a webcam, right? So there are applications. There's a bunch of them out there. And those of you that have used these before, go ahead and drop them in the comments. But Epoch Cam is the one I'm using right now. In fact, Epoch Cam also comes with some little things in the application where I can actually make some changes to the way I look if I wanted to. So you can actually change, like you can use filters and some other ones. Camo is one. Yes, Wes is saying the Camo app has a one-time lifetime license fee and it works really well. I will say that the Camo app is awesome. We did a demo of it a while back. It's re-incubate Camo, I think is what it's called. But I love the Camo app. You do need to pay for it if you want to use most of the features, but it's awesome. It worked very, very well. Let's see. Yes, It's Me Tools uses Epoch Cam. So I do like how we're pointing something out here. So it does 1080p on Pro. That's right. So I'm on the free version. So it's rezzing me down. But if I were to pay for the application, I would be able to get a higher quality signal. So right now it's really not great. It looks like it's made below 720, to be honest with you. I don't know exactly what it is. Another one is I can never say it, is Iriun. It's IRIUN. And it's a free application that also works great as well. So here's the way it works. You need to have the app on your phone and you need to have the app on your computer. So all of these are easy to do, easy to install. And when you do that and you plug it in, it's essentially going to show up. It's not Irwin, it's Iriun. Here's another one for Epoch Cam. They like Epoch Cam. So let me just go ahead and show you real fast. So you go to, whoops, close the wrong browser window. Got to open up my window here. So if you go to Epoch Cam, it's Elgato makes Epoch Cam. That's what this one is, right? 100%. Some of you are like, maybe you already have a webcam and you're like, why would I use my phone? Well, maybe you want to use the extra camera feature inside StreamYard, but you don't want to buy another camera. Well, you can grab your phone and use it. So again, all you have to do is download the app so they can interface together. What's going to happen is when you do that and you go to select the webcam, you will notice the app, whichever one you decide to go with. So if it's camo, it'll show up as camo. If you use Epoch Cam, it'll show up as Epoch Cam as an option for your webcam. Now, if you don't have the app open, meaning the Epoch Cam app open on your phone or whatever on your computer, it's not going to show up as an option. So it's only going to show up when it's actually going to work and be available, which is kind of nice because you can't accidentally, try to select it and it's not going to work. It isn't going to show up unless it's ready to work, ready to go. So let me see here. Yes, there is thank you, Stuart, for posting that over on Facebook. We did an entire show all about using your mobile phone as a webcam. So I'm not going to go heavy on the demo with it today because we have an entire episode as well as other videos on our YouTube channel about how to use these applications and so that you can use your phone as webcam. But I wanted to show it to you so you can see the quality here that you've got to go with here. So what is that thing down below me right here? Do you guys see that little circle right there? I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is. Why that's showing up. I can, there, it's the logo. Okay. So I'm using OBS virtual, I keep looking at the wrong place. I'm using OBS virtual camera. And so I'm moving the webcam around, but that little logo is also going to be there when you're not using the paid version. So you've got the little Elgato logo watermark in there, but you can obviously move it out if you're using something like this. But now, thank you. That's right. Now, I wanted to also see if I could do this, and it may not let me. Let me try something really quick. Actually, I don't want to break anything, so I'm not going to do that. So that's all running through OBS. So let me go back to the high quality camera because it's driving me crazy. So you are also going to need a tripod, right? You're going to need a tripod to put your camera on because you obviously you would want it to be up above you, right? You want it to be that eye level. So you are going to need a mobile device tripod in order to use your mobile phone as your webcam. So that's something to keep in mind as well when you're going to be using that device as the webcam. So grab a tripod. Get a tripod holder. They're really cheap. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them just about anywhere now. I mean, the dollar store, you can find these mobile device tripods. And that's what you're going to want to use when you're streaming using a PC. Obviously, a cable. You might need a longer cable as well, depending on what your setup is on your desk, where you're streaming, and all that too. So your cable will also need to be there. So, okay, let me see here. Random question by Bogdan. If you're watching on Facebook, the subtitles you see are a Facebook setting. So Facebook they have automatic subtitles. If you're talking about like closed caption, that's a setting on your end. You can actually disable that if you don't want that there. This is funny. Camera mounts, positions, etc. can be a task. Yes. So the other thing too about the mobile device, you saw the quality of it, right? But the other thing about it is, it sometimes gives you a little bit of a distorted look, which is something you have to kind of think about. But again, if you're wanting to go with so I'm going to move my camera over now. I'm going to try not to mess anything up here because I have all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to show you another thing that I like to kind of give people inspiration for. So let's say you have a decent camera or another webcam. But again, you don't want to buy a second camera, but you like the idea of having another camera angle option. And again, now that StreamYard has the extra camera option, if you're on one of the paid plans, you can or on the professional plan, then you actually could add a second camera. But you don't want to buy a camera, well, grab your phone and you can just like switch over and you have a different camera angle to make it a little bit more interesting when you're streaming and when you're talking to your audience, right? So you can kind of do stuff like that. We see our friend Nick Nimmin, right? When he's streaming, if you guys ever catch his show on our channel, on the StreamYard channel, he always he's got it set up where I think it's doing it automatically, where it makes the show so much more interesting when you can see what's going on and you can see all these different angles like such, right? Like you can actually have the extra cameras hooked up to your computer, and then you can actually look and see all the different angles, and it's just a lot more fun. So this is another thing that I want you to be thinking about as you are looking into up-leveling your streams. So maybe you don't want to go buy the extra camera, but you have a phone that you can use as that second webcam. Okay, so let's see here. Looks like the Camo app, if you get that, is a lifetime purchase of $7.99. Is that right? I didn't realize it was that cheap. I was thinking it was a monthly subscription. So yeah. So again, there are apps out there. You can actually search on the YouTube about how to do all this. Pretty easy, for sure. Okay. Jan Rock says, I've gone pro just so I can use that feature. Yes, the extra camera feature, right? Okay, so let's see here. Okay, let me, the next type of camera. So I'm checking the comments. I just want to make sure. Oh, yeah. So this is also awesome. Okay. The Morning Roast Radio community says, we use phones for our on the street segments on our live shows, and StreamYard makes it so easy to bring it into the broadcast. Yes. So honestly, I will tell you that the other thing about it, so I'm talking about using your phone as the webcam, but interestingly enough, StreamYard works on your mobile phone too. So you don't have to do this whole interface thing unless you're wanting to use the phone as your webcam, the phone camera as your webcam. Now, the other thing that you're going to find that is a big difference is that the selfie camera versus the other camera, the reverse camera. So you are going to notice a difference in quality on your selfie, your front-facing camera versus the rear camera. I didn't talk about that, but when you're using these apps, you can set that ahead of time too. But you can also do what they're talking about and actually do a segment or change to another phone, and you can actually be streaming right there inside using StreamYard. Just go to StreamYard.com on your phone and it works just as well. So again, super, super cool. Good fun. That's a super fun kind of use case on another thing too. Yeah, so again, my destination training, save your old phones. They can be used. This is actually a great tip. So your phones, if you don't need to trade it in or do anything like that, saving those old phones, it'll actually work. It'll work as a webcam. It'll work as all kinds of things that you might want to use down the road. And I will also say, save your USB webcams as well. We'll get to that in a moment. But let me get, I have to like log in. It was so funny because right before the show, I was like, I have all these cameras, I can do it. And then I was like, oh wait, my setup here. So the next camera type that I'm going to talk about is the built-in webcam. So the built-in webcam is the one I'm going to show you next. Now, I'm going to show that to you in just a moment. You're all going to see why this is usually the least recommended one that we want to go with. Okay, almost always the least recommended one that we want to go with. Oh, we almost had an echo issue there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do. So I'm on a different computer. So I showed you all the setup here. I'm on a PC, so I have these monitors. Well, I don't have a built-in webcam on these monitors. Kind of silly, right? Kind of forgot about that. So let me. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you what this looks like, and you're not going to love it because it's not great. I'm going to take my phone down, actually. I'm going to get this out of the way because it's in my way, like massively in my way. Like in a way, like beyond anything I can even describe. It's driving me crazy. Okay, that's out of the way now. I'm feeling pretty good. Okay, so here's what we got. I'm going to pull this up, and you're going to see why this is my least favorite type of camera that I want you to go with, and that is the built-in webcam. Okay, now you see me. You see how terrible this looks? I'm going to tell you that 90% of the time, built-in webcams are like the worst quality webcam you can probably get. Okay, this is a PC. This is a Dell computer. Now, you MacBook users, especially you MacBook Pro users, I will say that your built-in webcams are pretty decent. Built-in webcams are getting better as far as the quality of them, but still most of them are absolutely horrible. And you can notice one of the things that's the most horrible is like the coloring, right? So look at the coloring and the way it's all grainy. See all that grainy look with all the colors back there? That is one of the things that happens. The other thing that happens when you're using a built-in webcam is the positioning of it. So like your laptop sits down, right? It sits down, and then you're going to tilt it up so you can see your screen. Well, a built-in webcam, if you're using a built-in webcam, you're going to need to also probably buy one of those laptop holders that is going to let you have your computer up high. So it's, just a little platform that sits on, and you're going to want to have that thing up high so you can see the difference. Now, lighting is also going to be critical when you're using a built-in webcam. Usually it's going to try to do some compensation, and it's going to look really bad. So the second type of camera is the built-in webcam, which again, I'm trying to demo all these things so you guys can see them all. But if you have a laptop that has a built-in webcam and you don't have any other cameras, then I would suggest that you go with the mobile phone. So let's look at the difference between the mobile phone. Now I got to move it back to where it was. The mobile phone on the free Epoch Cam. This is okay. Now I'm going to be able to do both of these here. All right. So this is the built-in webcam right here, built-in webcam versus the mobile phone. So this is the mobile phone, and I'm using an iPhone 11, I believe. So this is a mobile phone using the Epoch Cam, the free app. You tell me which one you like better. Now, you notice my hair is doing something kind of funny. One thing about the mobile phone cameras is they do have a little bit of a distortion in them. They really do. That is definitely something that's kind of a downside as well. I also, it's time for a haircut. Today, I'm getting my haircut today. It's super long right now. Super tall. But so this is the mobile phone, and then the built-in webcam is this one right here. So built-in webcam, let me get it up here so it's a little bit more accurate. So there you go. Look at the difference. Built-in webcam on a $1,000 laptop versus the mobile phone. I think the mobile phone looks better personally. And that's not even using the Pro app. If I were using the Pro feature it would actually be improved. So the resolution would even be better. So again, if you have a laptop and you don't want to buy, a webcam and all that, you have your mobile phone. It's probably a better option. And I will say it's probably the most underused. So I don't think a lot of people think to use their phone as their webcam. And so some of them just use the built-in, camera on their laptop or on their all-in-one computer. But you notice the difference is significantly better than that built-in webcam. So most of the time, you're going to be better off using your mobile device as your webcam for sure. So yeah, mobile phone is definitely better. Yeah. Preston says $1,000 plus phone. Yeah. So my phone this is an iPhone 11. Now, I will tell you that most smartphones are going to have the same quality as far as this. It's not going to be pure perfect. It's not going to be the exact thing, that you see on the phone camera itself. But yes, this is a $1,000 phone, and I think $900 of it is the camera, truly. So, but if you have a lower quality or lower or cheaper phone, it's probably still going to be significantly better than your built-in webcam on your laptop. So I would, that's definitely what I wanted to point out. But the reason I wanted to cover it is because truly, what people don't realize is, let me close this and get this out of my way. What people don't realize is that it's an option. And that's why I wanted to talk about it today, right? It's better than the built-in webcam. I think people they still go with the laptop version, and that's one of those things. Yeah. So Jan says, I have a MacBook Pro and my camera has always been clear and it doesn't blur. Yeah. So again, the built-in webcam on MacBooks tend to be pretty decent, I will say. But most built-in webcams they're terrible. I think I saw somebody also say the built-in mics are also terrible. Yes, that is typically true. We won't cover that today, but we maybe will cover the different types of mics in a future episode. But yeah, totally true. 100% agree that the built-in mic is typically pretty bad as well. Yeah. Okay. So Colleen is making a great point. Okay. So she says, I use the built-in webcam, and yes, it's not a great quality picture, but it's so easy to use because it's already right there for me. And yes, my PC is on a platform, so the camera is at eye level. So here's the deal. if you need it to be simple, you need it to be easy, and that's the camera you've gotten. You don't want to mess with the whole app and all the stuff with the webcam stuff or the mobile phone. Then yes, then use it. Again, all of these are acceptable methods. They're all acceptable methods. I will say this one thing is if you are going to go with a lower quality camera image, then I would definitely focus on your audio. Okay, so if you're going to go with that lower quality, video with like the built-in camera, like Colleen is saying, for simplicity, then maybe make sure that you do invest in a good microphone, a USB microphone. You can get great USB microphones from $100 to $250. So I'd say it's worth the investment to get a really good USB microphone, just to keep it easy, keep it cheap. But that audio quality is going to really make that lower video quality a lot more forgiving. So 100%. I would definitely recommend that. But Colleen's making a great point. Sometimes you just need it to be easy and you just need it to be that way, right? So it's kind of one of those things. Let me check on you before, I got to take that banner down. Dang it. Let me check on y'all before, okay. So check on the comments real quick. I see that Coffee Talk and Tech is here. It's great to see you on with us live. Always providing tons of help in the comments for sure. So let me see. I want to check in, make sure I don't have any questions that I want to address now. I will get to your questions. Okay, let me see. Zan the Man says, we met in Vegas. I remember. I love it when I go to shows or conferences or anything like that, and I see people that are hanging out with us. He also says, how about the ZV-1? We'll get to that. I'll talk about the ZV-1 and the ZV-E10 here in just a moment, the Sony cameras. So, okay. This was a comment I wanted to pull up. So yes, it's me. Tool says front camera is the way to go always. What he's saying is on your phone, your selfie version of the camera, which is what you see here. And then you have on this Epoch cam, if I push that button, it's going to flip it to the other side, the other camera. And so the front camera is this one right here on the outside. That is considered the front camera. And I will tell you, is that the front camera? Front. I think front facing is typically the selfie camera. Anyway, either way, whatever you want to call it, front, back, whatever. I will say that the camera on the other side, probably the back one, is actually always going to be higher quality than the selfie camera on almost all phones. Now, I do think that the newer phones, that front facing camera, meaning like selfie camera, is actually becoming pretty high quality, okay, because of all the selfie, we live in a selfie world right now, essentially. But the other camera on the other side is almost always going to be the higher quality. However, it sometimes comes into play and it sometimes doesn't come into play. Sometimes matters, sometimes doesn't matter when you're using those apps, because it's going to diminish. It's never going to come through as like true pure quality almost all the time. So, okay. So great point. Doug over at SmackDown Outdoors says, just beware of your phone's battery. Now, I will say that some of the apps require you to be plugged into the computer for it to actually sync and work. Other ones, I think Epoch Cam does not require that. I think it just requires you to be on the same Wi-Fi, but some of them do require you to be plugged in. I agree with him though. Make sure that you are fully charged before you even start and have it plugged in regardless, so that you can have 100% have that in there. So you do not want to run out of battery life when you're doing this at all. So Colleen says, I have an Android phone. Is it possible to use that as my camera and still run StreamYard on my PC? So essentially, yes. So we have a ton of videos on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, Colleen, that talk about how to actually use the phone as your webcam. But really, I covered it in the beginning. It's essentially you need to pick the app that you want to use, download the app, and then your phone becomes the webcam. So you 100% open up StreamYard on your PC, and then when you set your phone up properly, when you go to select webcam, that is going to show up as an option, and then it will let you have that as your camera or your extra camera if you're on the Pro plan. So we covered the phone, using your phone as a webcam, and then I showed you my personal horrible quality built-in laptop camera that is on my Dell laptop here. Now I have like 3 different laptops. This laptop is I'll call it my corporate laptop for the company that I work for. And then I have a streaming laptop. I actually have a gaming laptop as well. And then I also have a HP Spectra. The camera quality on the thin HP Spectra is the worst. The quality on the gaming laptop's probably better than what you saw on the other one. Either way, they're almost always not very good. So if you are unless you're on like one of those nice newer MacBook Pros or something, you're probably going to run into the same thing. So now Preston has a fun question. He says, how do you place that into OBS as a source? So if you're using the mobile device like I did, I'll share my screen really quick. Those of you that have no idea what OBS is, please do not worry about it. This is kind of an advanced thing that you can use when you're streaming. So OBS, I'm using OBS, but I am using it only as a virtual camera. I'm not using OBS to stream. I'm streaming with StreamYard. I'm just using OBS so that I can do a few extra things, like easily toggle between the different cameras using my Stream Deck. So, I literally went and created a source, a new scene. I called it Epoch. When you have the scene set up, when you go to you add it just like you add any other video source. So you go right here to video capture device. And when you have the app running and set, it will show up as an option. So if I were to say, new, then it'll show up right here. It's going to give me all and see that there it is. Irian webcam is still installed. It shows up snap camera. All of those will work. Ryukibate camo. I was today using Epoch Cam. So I picked Epoch Cam, and that is the setting right there. That's it right there. That's the scene. And then you can obviously adjust it however you want, right? Now, I also saw that somebody said you can adjust the camera quality or the settings. You can. I don't necessarily recommend that. Don't get too crazy. But you can adjust the video. You can configure the video. So I can make all kinds of changes to like the brightness and all that stuff too. I wouldn't worry about all that. I wouldn't get too crazy. I just wouldn't get too crazy about it. So, but that's how I did that, Preston. So there's a little bonus question for y'all, how I did that. So let me jump down. I did see, okay, I saw a question and I'm trying to read it. I want to answer it. Oh, that's not a question. It's just a comment. Don't put a Q in front of your comments. Just a question. Okay, so here, let me get back to enough of that, right? Enough of that. Okay, and I will cover this camera that you see here. I will cover that momentarily, okay? Which is looking kind of red today. I need to adjust some settings, I think. Okay, let me get back to your questions and comments, right? Making sure I didn't miss anything crazy or anything amazing. This is a really great point as well. So, Doug says if you're going to live stream from a phone, on the go, especially if you are going to walk around, look into a gimbal. Really good options for under $100 these days. Find one with a tripod connection. So he's right. So gimbals are like these great devices that take away the shaky, movements and stuff. It keeps everything really smooth. So I would agree a mobile phone would definitely be a good one. Okay, so let's talk about the next option, the next level of webcam, which would be what I would call just a USB webcam. And some people will, it depends on the webcam you're using. So when I say we're talking about the levels here, I think the built-in webcam is probably the lowest quality. I think that if you use a paid app for your mobile device, So if you pay for one of those applications and get the Pro feature where it's going to give you better resolution, then I think the mobile device comes up next. Again, it kind of depends. Some of you might have really great built-in webcams that might be no different than using the mobile device, right? It is convenient. It's easy. The next level up is going to be the USB webcam. So this is a webcam that you plug into your computer. However, you can totally go buy a $20 webcam and it is not going to be as good as it's going to be the same quality you just saw. So when I say the next level up, I'm assuming that you're using a 1080 capable webcam. Worst case 720, and that's the resolution. 1080 webcam, you can buy them for like $60 or more, right? So the USB webcam, the nice thing about USB webcams, let's go to mine, is that it just plugs into your computer. Like it literally just plugs into the computer and it's ready to go. It's ready to work. Now this is this is the Logitech Brio webcam. I keep looking over here. I was going to move the camera before today's stream, and I actually I realized I don't have the right tripod for it to move it very easily. So it's on a mount right now, and honestly, I just decided I'll just leave it where it is. But the positioning of this camera is I use it as my kind of behind the scenes camera, right? My background camera. That's essentially what I use this for. This is not a dominant camera. I would never recommend this angle for the streaming ever, right? Unless you just, I don't know, want people to see the side of your head the whole time you're talking. I don't know. But this is the Brio. Now, I will tell you that the Brio would look better if I had it over here in front of me with my proper lights and all the things like that. It would look better than it does right here. Right here, it's looking a little funky. My monitor's like kind of yellow, but you can see that the quality is pretty good. Now, this is a wide angle USB webcam. So the angle is pretty wide, but that's actually why I use it for this shot, because I want the wide angle to pull in as much as possible with all this stuff and so people can see things, right? And, a lot of times this angle is fun because people are like, whoa, what's that thing? What's that thing? Mel, what do you have hooked up there? And then it just creates a very engaging thing. So again, this used to be my main camera. This used to literally be the main camera that I used, the Logitech Brio. Now, other popular ones, there's the Face Cam from Elgato. It's a very great USB webcam. There's the Kaio that's made by Razer, also a good webcam as well. The Logitech has the very popular 922 or whatever it is. You can still buy it. I would not recommend buying that webcam though, because it's been manufactured for so long. I think there's better webcams now. If you want to buy a built-in or a USB webcam, I would honestly probably recommend the Elgato Face Cam right now. That's probably the best USB webcam on the market. The Logitech Brio has been around for a long time. It will go up to 4K. I find that it's pretty good. I think that the USB camera is good, but it's kind of pricey. And so if you're going to spend the money, I would actually say go with the Elgato Face Cam. And many of you might agree with me in the comments, because I know a lot of you, I think Coffee Talk and Tech, you use the Face Cam, right? Yep. There you go. Exactly. There it is right there. So the Elgato Face Cam. It's actually a great webcam. This is not that. This is the Logitech Brio. But I want to say this. One of the reasons I wanted to cover these 4 types of cameras today is because I want you to understand a few things. One, where the quality is. So the budget for a USB webcam, as I mentioned, is anywhere from, it's kind of like it's really, you can get a decent webcam for $60 to $75, all the way up to $200. Probably, you can technically spend more. This one right here that I have, that's right here, this is a special kind of webcam. This was a lot more than that, but it's on a gimbal. It follows you as well. So there's all kinds of cool, this is the OBS bot webcam. But so this is what you're dealing with when it comes to the quality. But I wanted to point this out. You see what I've done here. This used to be my main camera. This was literally the camera I used to record my YouTube videos as well as stream. And then when I upgraded my camera, I didn't get rid of it. I saved it. And I want you to do the same thing. So if you're using a USB camera now, or you're ready to invest in a USB camera, get one, but then save it. Just like somebody said earlier, save all your old phones. because then you can use it as a bonus camera or another angle camera or something like that. I could totally have a fancy camera over here as my background camera, but why? This does the job just fine. It's driving me crazy talking to you like at that angle though, so I am going to move over because it was making me get all twisted. So I was going to move it for the show, so it'd be up here so you could kind of see it a little bit more true. I will tell you the quality is better when it's actually set up right and the lights are right and all that stuff too. So I want to check in on everybody really fast. Okay, so yeah, Blondie Gaming says, I got Razer Kaio. How do you like it? Do you like, I have seen people use that. They like it, and they love it. So, what is it that you have on your phone? What is it that you have on your phone? Just a sticker. I have a sticker on my phone, and that thing's still hooked up, if that's what you're talking about. Okay, so let me see here. Ah, yes. So Paul Dixon's making another great point, and this is something I did want to talk about. When it comes to USB webcams, he's right. The lighting is very important. If you are in really low light, that webcam's not going to look great. Neither is your phone, neither is the built-in webcam on your computer. So lighting is important when it comes to really anything, but especially those USB webcams, they get grainy. They get extra grainy when they're trying to compensate for lighting. And so you definitely want to make sure that you have good lighting. So buy a ring light or face a window, something like that, because those webcams, they can look really bad. They tend to look bad. That's why a lot of people are like, USB webcams are horrible. Well, your lighting, and he makes another great point, is when I cover the next one, lighting's going to be a critical feature as well when you upgrade into the next one. Okay. So I love it. He says, my 11-year-old uses my face cam. I love it. It's funny. I think, I've seen people use the face cam. I know Luria uses the face cam as a top down, as her bird's eye. Okay, so is there such thing as a USB camera switcher? I would think there probably is. I don't know of one. The camera switcher I use, it's technically a camera switcher. It's a few things. I use the Blackmagic A10 Mini. I have two cameras hooked into it. So here is one camera angle. Here's the other camera angle. And I just push those buttons. What y'all saw, this is the A10 right here. So this is my camera switcher. It does not work with USB cams, which I wish it did, but I don't, maybe there is one out there. If anybody knows of one, point it out. Okay, let me see here. So Mohit Edit, we talked about the mobile phones in the beginning of the show. So go back and if you check out the replay, you will absolutely see, you'll see that we covered that. So let's see. So Alvin is here. Alvin says, the position of the camera is important too. I have two monitors just like you, Mel, and I found my sweet spot is placed in between the screens with a gap in between screens. So my eye line is the same for my camera and screen. Yeah, so I have played around with a few different setups as well, but these monitors are on arms that are attached to my desk, and I can actually move them around. I love it. It's fantastic. I like to have the camera right above my monitor, right where I'm going to be streaming or communicating, whether it be a Teams meeting, a Zoom meeting, any of those things. I prefer to have it right above screen versus in between, like you're saying, Alvin, because I find that I can look right below the camera lens because I want to look into the camera lens as much as possible because that's the equivalent of looking into the eyes of the audience versus if I had it in the middle, I'd probably looking to the side a lot and I look right down. I think down just feels more natural than looking out to the side or even turning your head, which is why I like it here. So I have it here and then I have the other monitor over there. But I mean, you can do whatever. You can do all kinds of stuff. But positioning is important no matter what camera you're using for sure. So it's definitely one of those things you got to kind of also take into consideration. Okay, great question by the Salinas report. Can a person use a mirrorless camera, Canon EOS R, to live stream through the video recording limit, though the video recording limit is 30 minutes? Okay, so here's the deal. That's the next category I want to cover. So what you are seeing right now is a mirrorless camera. It's a Sony ZV-E10. This is the Sony A6100, okay? Both are using a high quality Sigma lens. So the Sigma lens, that's why I have this blurrier background. So you can absolutely use a mirrorless camera. And that is the next level up, right? That's the fourth level. We talked about the three others. We talked about built-in webcam, USB webcam, and we talked about the mobile phone as your webcam as well. And you can absolutely use a DSLR or mirrorless camera. Now, not every single DSLR or mirrorless camera manufactured is compatible. Many of them are, but there's a few things that you need in order to make this work. You cannot just grab the camera in most cases and plug it into your computer and it's going to work, okay? Just like the phone. You have to have an interface. You have to have a way for your computer to see the camera as a webcam and show up as a webcam option. That's the way that it's all today. So you have to have a capture method. And what a capture method means is it means that your computer is able to capture the video feed from that camera as a webcam type, right? So that's what I mean by capture method. And the reason why I'm saying capture method is because capture cards are definitely the popular way to go. And a capture card is actually a piece of hardware. Okay, so it's a piece of hardware. The Blackmagic A10 Mini that I showed you, that I talked about a second ago, is a capture device. It will do exactly what I'm describing. There are the Elgato Cam Link is probably the most popular capture card out there. If you Google search capture card, that's what you're going to find. 1 second, please. So the capture card, you can get lots of different ones out there. You can actually buy capture cards and have them put into your computer, like installed into the computer. You can also buy capture cards like the Elgato Cam Link, which is a USB. You plug it into the USB port. Very easy to use. I have it. I have one in my laptop. It was my very first capture method that I purchased. And actually, technically it's not, because the other capture method is to use software. So capture, it's a utility application that you install on your machine, and it essentially does what I'm describing in the background of your computer. Downside to using the software is that it is not going to give you a true pure resolution. So there is a downside to it. There's other things that I'm going to talk about in a moment, but capture methods. Use the software that comes from the manufacturer. So Canon is called the EOS Webcam Utility app. Sony has one as well. I think they all have now come out with these applications. So you just go to your whatever camera you have, go to the manufacturer's site and see if they have the utility that you can install. That's one method. But again, I would highly recommend that you use the hardware version. It's going to give you better quality. However, the software applications are free. So if you have the money, if you have the budget, you want to buy a capture card or a capture device. So a piece of hardware, because you are going to get a much better quality signal versus using the software, right? So, okay, let me check in on the comments. So Blondie Gaming says, so that's where capture cards come in. Yeah. So there are other capture cards out there. There's also capture cards that will capture, they will actually capture the, like a gaming console. So there are other types of capture cards that you would plug your gaming console into it and it will actually put your game that you're playing on your Xbox onto your screen. So that there's different types, but there are camera capture methods is what we want. So, okay. Now, the other thing is that not every single camera is capable of this. So if you have older DSLR cameras, many of them aren't capable of doing this. Or if they are, the quality is not going to be anything spectacular. It's just kind of one of those things. So if you have a DSLR sitting around, look at the model number. And then honestly, I would do some research and see if it's compatible with streaming. So what I wanted to pull up, let me get it pulled up really quick. So there's other things that come into play. So some of you are probably chomping at the bit. I'm going to cover those other things. Not every DSLR or mirrorless camera can and should be used for a webcam. So that's not what we want. There it is. So for example, if you have a Canon application or a Canon camera, which I know that the Canon cameras are super popular, you can go to their site. All I did was Google, like search Canon utility, whatever, EOS utility. It's going to actually give you, it's just going to show you all these different models for you to what you want to use. So this is actually not the right one. I'm sorry. We want the Webcam Utility app. Canon Webcam Utility. That's what we want. And there it is. So the Webcam Utility is something that they came out with so that they came out with it like right as the pandemic was happening. And I think it was because there was a shortage of USB webcams. People had all these Canon cameras and they came out with this Webcam Utility app, and it allowed people to use their application, their DSLR mirrorless camera as an actual webcam. So that's what this is. You will find all the things you need. I think that there was before you begin, there's a way to look at whether your camera is actually compatible. So you want to check that. And it's just one of those things you want to check. So Sony has the same thing. So Google search your camera, the model, and using it as a webcam. You will probably find all the help out there that you need in order to do it. So let's see here. I saw some comments about, let's see. I was looking for, okay, cool. So the Gabe Leal Experience says, I have a Canon M52 and a Sony ZV-E10, and both are awesome for live streaming. So here's the deal. Here's the thing about the other thing that comes into play is you need what's called clean HDMI. Okay. So clean HDMI is going to mean that you can output, okay, because you're going to need the capture method. The other thing you're going to need is the proper cable. So you're going to need the cable that's going to go from your camera and go into your computer, right? Whether it be the USB port, whatever you're using, the capture device. If you are using the Elgato Cam Link, then you're going to need the HDMI cable that comes out and goes into the back of the Cam Link that goes into the computer. Okay? So you need the proper cable. And then the other thing you're going to want to get is what's called a dummy battery. And a dummy battery is basically you're going to take the battery out of your DSLR and you're going to put this thing in that fits right into the battery. It looks just like a battery, except it has a cable that comes to it, and you plug it into the wall. And that is going to allow your camera to operate with actual electrical power versus a battery, because you will find that very quickly, if you're using your camera to stream, the battery will run out very quickly. Very, very quickly. So you're going to need that as well. It's worth the investment. They're not expensive. I think you can get them for like $20. Make sure you get the right one that's appropriate for your model camera. If you buy a cheap one that's not good quality or not the right one, it can actually damage your camera. So I would definitely do your research on that as well. Now, something that somebody had brought this up, and they asked about the 30-minute recording limit. So a lot of phones, a lot of DSLR cameras have a time limit where two things will happen. One, it actually will only allow them to record a certain amount of time, right? The camera literally is only going to be in video mode for so long, and then it will shut off. That's an older model camera thing, I believe. So I used to have a T3i Rebel Canon camera, and I'm pretty sure it had a 30-minute recording limit on it. This should not come into play if you're using it to stream. Again, if you have the right settings appropriately set. The other thing that sometimes comes into play on these cameras is that the camera, like the shutter, will close after so long, right? It's going to only stay open for so long. I know that when I was using the Canon, not the dummy battery and just the Canon, the shutter would actually shut. I'd have to hit the button and get it to open again when it would do it. So it's kind of annoying, kind of weird, kind of a silly thing. Once I actually used the dummy battery, it didn't do that anymore. Not sure why. So again, there's quirks. There's a lot of quirks to this. This is not for the faint of tech heart, okay? So you can do it. It's just there's a lot of things you got to consider and to put into play. But if you want this kind of quality that you're seeing in these two angles of these two cameras, then you are going to need to be ready for all the quirks that come with it. Now, let's talk about clean HDMI again, because I mentioned it, but I didn't go deep with it. Clean HDMI is essentially where your camera is going to show a clean picture, not all the little settings. Like when you look at a camera and you look at the back of the camera and you're looking at the window and it shows you all like the crop marks and the settings and all that stuff, that is if that shows up, you do not have clean HDMI out. So for example, the Canon M50, amazing camera, the original Canon M50, not the Canon M52. The Canon M50, if you use a capture card like the Elgato Cam Link or even the Blackmagic A10 Mini, it is not going to give you a clean HDMI picture. It's going to have all the settings in it, unfortunately. If you use the Canon EOS Utility app, Webcam Utility app, that Webcam Utility app actually, they build it into the software to remove the setting stuff. So you actually do get a clean picture, but it's not HDMI. It's all through software and it is a lower resolution. So kind of catch-22 there. So you want to look at two things. If you grab your camera and you say, I have a DSLR camera. I have this mirrorless camera sitting around. Can I use it as a webcam? Do your research, make sure it's compatible, see if it has clean HDMI out, and then you're going to need to get those other pieces that I talked about. You need to buy the proper cable. You're going to need to get the capture card, and you're going to need to get the dummy battery. Those are the items you're going to want. You're also going to, of course, need the proper tripod. You're probably going to want to put it on your desk if that's where you're going to be streaming, like I have mine. And there's all kinds of different types of tripods you can buy that are desk mount tripods, or you could just use a tripod and put it kind of behind your desk, which is what I used to do a long time ago. Now, Wes says overheating. So again, some of the cameras out there that are older, okay, they are not necessarily amazing for this function. Now, again, the dummy battery, if you don't have the proper dummy battery, if you're not using the proper dummy battery, it can cause overheating. There are actually some cameras that are known to essentially overheat, because here I'm streaming, I've been on here for an hour. My cameras have been on for an hour. Now, if I feel it, it's not really very hot at all. It's just not. Now, these cameras are actually great for streaming. So if you're in the market to buy, a mirrorless camera and you want to use it for streaming, then you're going to want to do research. But I'm going to tell you that most of the research you find is going to tell you that you want to buy one of these Sony cameras. So these Sony cameras, the Sony ZV-E10 is probably, at least right now, one of the most popular streaming cameras, mirrorless cameras. The Canon M52 is also a great streaming camera as well as vlogging. Both of these are great for vlogging, videos. You can use them for photography if you want, and they are great for streaming. So somebody earlier asked about the ZV-1. The Sony ZV-1 is a camera that does not allow you to change the lens, but it will plug right into the computer without a capture card, and it will let you use the USB webcam feature. The Sony ZV-E10 that I'm using right now also lets you do the same thing. So if you don't buy the capture card, you can actually plug this camera into the USB port. You have to pick the proper setting on the camera, and then it will actually show up and work as a webcam without a capture card. There are, I think, a couple of other newer model cameras that are hitting the market that do work. They will work. They will actually plug into the computer. They've built them to work this way. However, I do not think any of them will give you a pure 1080 signal. They will only go up to 720 when you do it that way. That could change. It could change anytime, right? But so there's a lot of caveats to this because the technology is always changing. So if you are going to use a DSLR or mirrorless camera and you have one already that you use for other things, do your research, see if it's compatible for streaming. And then if you're in the market to buy a new camera and you want to buy a camera that is compatible with streaming, then I definitely want you to do that research. You're going to need those things that I talked about, the dummy battery, the cable, the capture card, and you're going to want to check it down. The Sony A7 IV lets you get 1080 via USB. Is that like the super expensive? Because that's the other thing I wanted to talk about is budget, because that's the other thing that comes into play. This is definitely going to be your, yeah, that is a that's over a $2,600 camera. So There is that. So you're going to need to think about the budget. Now, you can buy a used camera. So you can find some used cameras on the market. So a Sony A5100, Sony A6400, Sony, a lot of these are hard to find, I will tell you. The Sony ZV-E10, I think, is like still out of stock in most places. So the budget's going to be, I'm going to say you're looking at, for a decent, good quality setup with a DSLR or mirrorless camera, you're looking at buying new. Okay, let's talk about buying new. You're going to look at $700 at least, right? Because the camera, the cable, the dummy battery, the accessories, the capture card, all those things included, all in, you could probably get it by $700 for the lower end. And then you can go anywhere up to $5,000 and more. I mean, quite frankly. So, but I think on average, you need to be thinking about $1,000. On average, you need to think about $1,000 for a pretty good camera that is going to be a great quality, great setup for this, and all the pieces you need. And then a little bit more if you want to get a different lens. So that's the other thing, is that a lot of these cameras, you can also use different lenses, and you can just get some amazing picture quality with your streams. So that's, definitely some things to think about. Yeah. So yeah, $3,000. So yeah, the Sony A7 is great at $3,000. So yeah, so it's pretty awesome, but a little bit more expensive, right? This is a really great point. So JV's Hangout low light is amazing on the Sony A7. So the other thing I will tell you is that these cameras, the ZV-10, most of these DSLR mirrorless cameras, you are going to be able to get this kind of whole thing. So a lot of people say, oh, I want to use lights. I want to use LED lights. I want to use all these cool things like you do, Mel. You're not going to achieve that same look with a USB webcam, a built-in webcam, and as you saw earlier, with the mobile device. You will need to invest in the right kind of camera, because to have this setup, my lights are out. I have the lights. I have my Elgato key light airs. My curtains are closed, my patio door that's right in front of me, which I hate doing, but I do that when I stream, because if I open all that light up, then all the color is washed out. So it's low light. It's truly low light, but then I have my good lights, and then there you go. If you can't handle the low light, you aren't going to achieve this look. In order to have the low light, you're going to need the right kind of camera and the right kind of lens. So again, it's more expensive, but if there's certain looks you want, you will need to make a bigger investment. So the reason I wanted to talk about these different categories is because if you're just getting started, and you see what I've got here, I want you to know what your options are about getting to this place. But I also don't want you to sit there and say, well, I'm not ready to start streaming yet because I don't have $1,000 like Mel told me you need in order to get that set up. No, you don't even, if you are sitting there and saying, all I have is a laptop and the camera is a complete joke inside of it. Well, I showed you can use your mobile device. You can use your mobile phone as a webcam and get a pretty decent picture. I also talked about USB webcams. Very budget friendly, very easy. Sometimes I miss the simplicity of just a good old USB webcam. I will tell you that when I travel, I always take a USB webcam with me because it's significantly better than the built-in webcam on my laptop. And so they're easy to pack up. They plug in and they work. They're so easy. I wish everything else was as easy, honestly. But you can budget friendly, super budget friendly, anywhere from $75 to $200. You can get a good webcam, right? Now you can get some fancy webcams too. Some of you have talked about some cameras in the comments, but that you can absolutely you can absolutely get a better, some fancy stuff, some fancy, like this OSB bot camera. OBS bot. I always say it backwards. This little camera right here is so fun. Smackdown Outdoors, Doug over there, I know he has seen this thing in action, and he wants to know if it works well outside. Doug, I promise you, I will do that. The thing that's going to be a factor on that is Wi-Fi. I was going to test this one day for you, and I was like, oh, wait, I don't have good connection out there where I would do it. So I was going to do a fishing test for him. But anyway, this camera it's a USB webcam, probably about the same quality as the Brio camera that I showed you earlier, this one right here, but it will follow you around. So you can get pretty fancy with these USB cameras. Some fun stuff that you can do. But if you do want the higher end look, you're going to need to spend some money, unfortunately. So Heading out to get his new Sony A74. Well, there you go. For 3K, right? Somebody else made a comment in here too. I wanted to, let's see, where'd it go? I saw a question and I wanted to pull it up. Yeah, Wes says, if you can get a used Sony A6100, there's still a great camera capable of 4K video. It's my workhorse. This is my A6100 right here. I think I have this thing so dialed in perfectly. Quite frankly, I think it looks better than my ZV-E10, but I think it's just because I haven't quite gotten the perfect settings on the ZV-E10. But I love my A6100. Now, both of these are using the Sigma lenses, but yeah, he's right. So you don't have to buy a brand new camera. Interesting. So Eric's here. Hey, Eric, I haven't seen you in forever. He says, have you seen the Opal camera webcam with DSLR quality almost? No, I have not. I will be looking into that. I will be checking that one out for sure. So let's see. Does the ZV-E10 use micro 4.3 lenses? I have no idea. Does anybody know the answer to that question? I have no idea. I don't even know what those are. Micro 4x3 lenses. I don't know. I'm not sure. The ZV-E10 you can do interchangeable lenses. The ZV-1 does not let you change lenses. I do know that. That's a big difference. I saw something earlier that I wanted to pull up before we close out for today. I know I saw something earlier. Oh, camcorder. So the Samoan Watchman, I went the camcorder route. It's phenomenal. You can also use camcorders. I did not cover that. You can use some camcorders as your streaming camera too. Yeah. So Chris Gosling says you can get excellent camcorders from Panasonic too. 4K for film or go through an Elgato Cam Link. Yeah. Very cool. So I did not talk about the camcorders, right? So, but you definitely can. I'm checking out, the Great Scott says the Logitech C930E, I highly recommend for price, quality, and features. There you go. So there's another recommendation. Okay, so Kamal Tech Vlog, thank you for jumping in. Mostly Panasonic and Olympus cams use micro 4x3. Okay, there you go. There's the answer to. I love it when you guys help. I can't answer every single question. I'm not like a genius. I know enough to be dangerous about most things, but that's one of those things. Here, okay, good question. So the Blondie Gaming says, is there any camera upkeep for the high grade cameras? So like cleaning, he says like cleaning. Here, I wouldn't say there's upkeep, but you definitely want to do a few things so that they don't get damaged. So the higher quality cameras they're big cameras. You need to make sure you have the proper type of tripod. I cannot tell you how many times when I used to use a regular tripod that I almost knocked my camera over by bumping it because it's top heavy. The camera's up there. Now I use camera mounts that are mounted. They're clamped onto my desk. So, and I also have a desk that goes up and down. So one of the things you want to be careful about is just make sure it's in a spot that's not going to get knocked over or bumped or anything like that. The other thing is that if you're using one of these cameras multi-purposing, meaning you're using it for streaming and photography and videography and whatever, just know that that's a lot. You're handling it a lot. You're moving a lot of cables in and out of it a lot. Anytime you're doing things like that, the more you unplug and replug something in, the more likely it can get damaged or get faulty. So there are amazing camera technicians at camera stores that can do maintenance on your cameras. But for the most part, I do not think there's a lot of maintenance needed if you're just using it for streaming. Most of them, as long as you shut it off properly, meaning like shut it off, it will go through its normal process of cleaning the sensors and whatnot inside of there. So you just want to make sure that you just take care of it like you would any camera for anything else, for sure. And get one of these. Get one of these. It's just a little thing that you use to clean the lens with. Don't use a shirt or the wrong type of thing like a paper towel. It's going to scratch your lens. So that's one of those things you want to do. Yeah, Darina says, investing in a good mirrorless cam can be multifunctional. Great for live streaming, great still images, great quality video for YouTube, Reels, or TikToks. Such a good investment, in my opinion. I agree. Now, the other thing that a lot of people, that where this will happen is you can see, some people are saying, well, I'm just getting started. What should I buy? Should I go buy a nice webcam? There are people out there that will say, don't waste your money. Don't buy a webcam. Just save your money and save it for the DSLR mirrorless camera. I really can't say I agree with that. Now, if you think that you're going to be able to come up with $1,000 in 2 months, then yeah, save the $150 and use your phone for now, for 2 months. But if you're like 6 months to a year away, I say go ahead and buy the USB webcam, get to streaming, build the audience, get going. You may never even decide that you want to upgrade the camera. But then when you do, guess what? You now have an extra camera for your behind the scenes shot. That's what I did forever, for a long time. I just used my extra Logitech camera as my behind the scenes shot. So that camera can be used in many ways. So I say get whatever you need to get that's going to help you get out there streaming, get going, and make things happen. And don't sit and wait forever for the $1,000 or $3,000 setup. I say go do what you want, right? Chris Gosling says, Opal webcam looks seriously good and a nice little zoom lens, good effects. Cool. I'm going to check that one out. I really, really, really will check that out. So there are a lot of options out there. You can get very overwhelmed with what to decide. So that is one thing that you may run into, issues with what to decide. Here's what I always say. If you're out there and you're getting ready to buy something, do your research and read reviews. So I definitely recommend that you read reviews about different cameras, different microphones, any of that stuff. The other thing that I always say you should do is go to YouTube and find research. There are so many amazingly talented, smart people who have made these videos and done these product reviews. They will give honest reviews. Do not watch a review video of somebody who's being paid for the review that they're doing. Make sure that they're not being paid for the review. There are a lot of people out there, they record a video, they say how great the camera is, and they're getting paid by the manufacturer. You do not want to watch those, okay? No one is going to pay someone to give an honest review for their product. You want to go out, you want to find somebody that's not being paid. Doesn't mean, now some of them may get free equipment. So I know Elgato, Rode, they send people, Shure microphones, they send some of these YouTubers free stuff just so that they will use it, talk about it, and give a review about it, and hopefully sell more products. Okay? So that's okay, as long as they're not being paid to do the video or the review. Okay? They may have gotten it for free, great, but you want to check it out that way. So I would absolutely go watch, figure out, do your research, narrow it down to a few options, like this Opal camera. You know I'm about to go to YouTube right now and watch a bunch of videos about this Opal camera. So do your research. That's why I went with the Sony ZV-E10, because everybody was like, this thing's amazing. It's perfect for streaming. And it's the best. It's light. And I was like, there you go. Now I know that's the one I want. The A6100, same thing. I did my research. It was recommended. I watched a bunch of videos, and that's why I made the decision to purchase it. So, but definitely do your research. Definitely make sure that you're not buying something that, for example, just because it's popular, or just because you read about the Logitech HD webcam so much, because it probably still to this day is the most popular webcam ever made and purchased, just because it's popular, just like the Blue Yeti, does not mean it's your best investment. So for the same price, there's probably a better version out there. So the most popular, the most talked about is not always the best. Okay, so again, do your research and look up those alternatives, and that's going to help you find the right fit for you. Yeah, so Alvin is another M52. He uses it with the dummy battery and all that stuff. I will tell you, I liked the Canon camera. I used to have the Canon M50. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. But I moved and switched to the Sonys, and I miss the Canon interface. I thought the Canon interface was a little bit more intuitive, I guess is the word I'll use, but it's one of those things, right? Here. So I was shocked that nobody made a comment or anything. The Blue Yeti, yeah. I still have a Blue Yeti around here somewhere. There it is. The dinosaur. Look how big this thing is. It's huge. The dinosaur, it's heavy too. You could defend yourself pretty well with that thing. Dr. Vibe Show says, how much lighting is enough? However much is needed. That's what I'll say. It depends on your room. It depends on the camera. It depends on so many factors. Just a big ring light might be all you need to get by. But it depends on your standard as well. It depends on what you want. I personally, my lighting's okay. I think it could be so much better. But I really don't want to have all these big soft boxes and things everywhere. So it also depends on how much stuff are you okay with, right? So it kind of just, there's too many factors there for sure. Whatever you need, whatever you can make. And Hugh Anthony Riley says it's never enough. Yeah. I mean, I will say that the proper lighting makes a big difference in the quality. But as far as like how much, it depends on the room, depends on your camera, depends on all kinds of things. So, but there are a lot of great videos out there. We need more videos about lighting on the StreamYard channel. I'm going to make that recommendation. But anyway, it's not a dumb question at all though. But this is another great point. The color of the light is more important than the intensity in my opinion. So like the coolness or the warmth of the light, he makes a great point. I will show you, I can actually adjust my lights. So, right now, I have 2 lights. Oh, there's an update. Remind me later. So what it means is, for example, the coolness or the warmth. So I will take, so this one, right? These are, both of my lights are actually on, they're both on the coolest setting, it looks like. So watch what happens when I change it from cool to warm. Watch my face right now. Oh, look at everything. So if I were to go with all, look at that. So I didn't change the brightness. All I did was go from the coolest setting to the warmest setting. And I just got jaundice. I'm now jaundice, right? So Doug says, I'll help with the lighting video. Yeah, we need to have you do that. But now I'm going to go fix my lights, go back to the other setting. There we go. That looks much better, doesn't it? So there you go. So yeah, nice tan. Exactly. Right. Okay. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you guys learned some things. Maybe some of you learned some things or thought about some things differently. Maybe some of you just were here to have fun, and I loved that you all contributed in the comments to help everybody else. And honestly, this is something I always like to make sure that everybody knows about and that everybody's part of. But we have an amazing Facebook group over on Facebook. And I want you to make sure that you join it if you're not already in there, because lots of the conversations like you saw in the comments today where people are helping, like Doug, Kamal Tech Vlog, others, we're all chiming in, Alvin, chiming in and helping. It goes on every single day over in that Facebook group. So if you have questions, if you need help, if you want to share a screenshot of your stream and say, hey, what can I do to make this better? How can I make my background look better? Hey, can somebody help me with some lighting? You will be shocked how many helpful people are in that group that are willing to help step in. They might even get in the DMs with you and actually get on a call and help you. There are so many great people over there. So if you're not already part of the Facebook group, definitely head on over, jump in there and be a part of that, because it's a great community. It's a great group of people, and you can get all kinds of help that maybe I didn't answer your question today. Just like the one about the micro 3x4 lens or 3/4 lens, whatever. I didn't know the answer to that question, but there were like 4 or 5 people that did. So there you go. So that's exactly what that Facebook group is all about as well. So I definitely want to say thank you for being here, as I always do. I'll be back next Friday. Next Friday, though, is going to be a Q&A day, open Q&A. So there's no topic for next Friday. It's just an open Q&A. I'm super excited about it. Can't wait to come hang out with you and do that live stream with you all. And then here's what's kind of crazy. The week after that, I will not be able to go live. So I may need to do a different day that first week of August when I go live then, because I am going to be on a golf trip that day. And y'all saw where I went live from a different location a few weeks ago because I was at the lake, right? Well, I would like to go live with y'all and talk to y'all that Friday, the 4th, but I'll be golfing. So that's going to be very difficult to stream and to help you and talk to you while I'm playing golf. So, because guys, my pinky's fixed. My pinky is finally healed after 6.5, 7 months. It's fixed, and I can now do things like play golf and do all the fun stuff like kayak and all those things I like to do outside. So I can't believe, it's funny, I forgot to actually tell everybody, yay, got the pins out. My pinky's healed. So if you're new to the show, you may not know what I'm talking about. I had a thing on my pinky for like 6 months because it was the very tip of my pinky broke and it would not heal. So it was a pain in the butt. But Now it's good. We're all good to go. All right, I'm gonna stop rambling. I'm gonna get on with my day. I hope you have an awesome rest of your Friday and weekend, wherever you're watching from. I super duper appreciate you. And thank you everybody for being here. I will see y'all next Friday.